So welcome to level 2. This is all about how to build trust. Trust is one of those things that we all know we should build. We try to build, and sometimes we get frustrated just because of personality clashes, lack of time, pressure, other stuff that is going on. Knowing how to do it as a technique and knowing how to build it within your business life is so crucial. Let me share some ideas about how we can begin to think about that, shall we? So let me just share with you some thoughts from a really good author called Rick Hanson about how the brain begins to build trust and how it begins to work. I've called this the trust gate, because this may help us understand it a little bit better. The book, by the way, is fantastic, Hardwiring Happiness by Hanson. He looks at the brain and the way the brain has grown and evolved. And looking at the brain, what we can see is that very low down the top of the spine is the, if you like, the original brain, the reptilian brain, the brain stem, the bit of the brain that is the reactive, the survival mode that we all have. And the brain evolved and it grew. We have the base emotions, bonding, caring, security, this kind of, again, they're feeling based, survival based, but not as clearly survival, more social survival than physical survival. And those two elements of the brain, that lower part of the brain, is really what was grown over the millennia to produce the base for the next bit of the brain, which is the higher brain, the bit that thinks, the bit that is logical, the bit that you want to persuade people, you want to influence people, you want them to accept your ideas. It's a higher brain that you'd like to get agreement with. So far, so good. Here is the dilemma, though. The question would be, what part of the brain is governing the level of trust that you're managing to get from somebody else? Well, here we go. I call this the trust gate, because what I found is that there is a kind of a barrier in the brain. Unless people feel that you understand their base emotions, they're not going to open the gate to the cognitive, to the logic. When the gate opens, they will talk to you about the higher brain stuff, the logic, the data, the trust. Until the gate opens, they won't do that. So the biggest part of trust is being able to solicit agreement from that particular part of the brain. The lower part of the brain is key. And how do we do it? 5 things that I would suggest, the kind of rules of thumb to take with us pretty well on a daily basis. The first thing is listening, followed quickly by understanding. Even if we disagree with the emotional state of somebody else, even if we see life differently, our response has to be, look, I'm listening to you, I understand. We might be biting our lip at that time, but it's critical for that to happen so the gate opens to the logic. Then we can begin to negotiate some of their ideas, some of our ideas. Really important to promise action and so critical to do what we say. So there's the basis of trust. Open the gate by listening and understanding, negotiate, then promise action and make sure that that action is delivered. So that's the basis for us of building trust.